Adventure on Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest. And man, I am excited about this because there's some cool new music and it's got a really good meaning to it. And I want to talk about the record label and a lot of things. So let's welcome to the show James Baker from Rorschach Test. Sorry, can't.
Thanks so much for having me today.
Yeah, my pleasure. And so first, I just want to talk about, it's been a while since you guys have been around, and you've been doing a lot of other things in the meantime that are helpful to humanity, in my opinion. So tell us a little bit about your journey getting to this point, to this new music.
Well, when things fell apart in 2002, it's really no secret to the fans and pretty much everyone knew what was going on. And I'm only going to speak for myself, but I was in the midst of a immense battle with substance use disorder. And so the first matter of business for me was to regain control of myself and to get clean and to get sober. And so I had to take a long break, and it was a long road with many different attempts and this and that and different treatment methods. And finally, I have found relief for myself in life. And upon finding that relief, I decided that there's really nothing better for me to do than to try and help someone who was like me, who was still suffering. And so I took it as far as I could. I actually went to college again and got a degree in behavioral health. If you know anything about my history prior to becoming a musician, I was ordained as a Protestant minister, and things did not work out with the church and me when I was a young man. But much later in life, that ordination, that seminary degree that I had, turned out to work into a position as a hospice chaplain in Phoenix, which has just been some of the most transformative moments imaginable in my life. Spending the last few days and hours with people who are on their way out of this life experience. It really helps you gain perspective on what's valuable and what isn't. And so I've just been very grateful to have that going on in the background. I've always wanted to bring Rorschach Test back, especially after getting clean and sober, because I wanted to share that aspect of the message of my personal life with the fan base that we have. It's important for me to let them know that as hopeless as it may seem, or as far down as you may have gone, no matter how hard you've hit the ground, there is hope and things can change. And so, I kind of had that in my heart, and then all of a sudden, just all the right elements for a comeback came together. The Narcoleptic Goddess handed me some lyrics, which, I just had to write a song to them. by the way, that's the first time I've ever accepted lyrics from someone else.
Nice. Well, maybe that's what you learned too, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. So, and then running into Michael Bolenbach of Full Whale Recording Studios in Phoenix. You walk into this studio and it's like a museum of the recording industry. It's got all sorts of analog stuff, but he also has the most modern and up-to-date digital stuff as well. And I knew I was home when I walked into that studio. And working for him as an engineer and assistant producer was a young man by the name of Colby Peoples. And we were in the process of tracking Fallen, the single that we just released. And Mike said, you ought to let Colby have a whack at that guitar line. Let's. And I said, oh, he plays guitar. And Mike said, yeah. And I was just thinking to myself, well, I better be polite here, it is his studio, and I understand he's trying to help the kid out and whatnot. So yeah, I said, okay, sure. Let's hear what your ideas on it, Colby. And I had not gotten chills up and down my spine like that since I worked with Jeff Loomis, just absolutely mind-blowing talent, not only on the guitar, but also with all the new digital recording devices there are and software, digital workstations. He knows all that stuff like the back of his hand. He's forgotten more about digital recording than most people have ever learned. And he's still a young man. So all the elements came together at once. And I thought, wow, we're not just going to record a song here. We're going to do an album. And everyone agreed. And so we filmed a video for the song to just kind of come out of hiding and say, hey, we're active again. It's a real thing. And we're really excited about releasing the full-length LP, which has the same title as the single, Fallen, in October 31st of this year. It'll be out.
I love that it's going to be out on Halloween. That's so perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, that's why I wanted you to tell a story, because I love hearing stuff like that. This part of me is radio personality, but there's another part of me, motivational speaker personality. And,
yeah,
that whole thing of, no matter how bad it gets, that there's still a chance, and that there's, there can be light at the end of the tunnel, is such a big thing for me, because you just never know when things are going to change. And sometimes it takes certain magical things to happen, kind of like what happened with you. Just, your whole story of starting one way, leaving that, but then it's coming back later to show you, see, there is a reason that you went that route to begin with. And yeah, I mean, being a hospice chaplain, that's like one of the hardest and most rewarding things you could do, as far as I'm concerned, because like you said, you're seeing people at their last moments, and that's hard, but then you're getting these revelations from people, because listen, we all grew up this way. You're like, what's important in life? Till we realize how unimportant everything we ever thought in life was important.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And when I took the job, I really didn't know what to expect, but it has been such a gift, to hold the hand of someone who may have questions, may have fears, may have regrets that they want to clear up. And this amazing transparency suddenly happens when someone knows they're on their way out. There's an honesty like I've never seen before. There's no reason to put up pretenses or false identities or any of it anymore. And I thought to myself, after being with the first patient that left this world, this is how human beings should be living their entire life experience.
Yes.
But we, as a motivational speaker, you probably know this. The most hardcore prisons that a person can wind up in are those that we construct within our mind.
Mm-hmm.
And, especially when it comes to things like suicidal ideation, which is something that this album and Rorschach Test really wants to raise awareness on with this album. Because regardless of the fact that it's not so much in the news anymore, it's old news, it's a bigger problem in America and the world than it's ever been before.
Yeah.
And I don't think the pandemic helped that very much. It just kind of threw gasoline on the fire. And if you've ever been in that situation, or someone who has, you get into this mentality where you just feel so trapped in the idea that everything is hopeless, that there's no way that whatever mess you're in could unravel. There's no way whatever the situation is could get better. And then if just anyone offers you a different perspective, it can change just like that.
Absolutely. 100%.
And so, one of the main things that we want to really emphasize in releasing this album that's coming out is if you're feeling like that, do not hesitate to reach out and talk to somebody, because just that conversation could completely change your life.
Yeah, no doubt. And then, different people experience it different ways. And so there's some kind of coping tools, and a lot of times people don't know what these coping tools are. And it could be anything that could trigger them to think, wow, maybe there is hope, and that's the key. Like what you said, they're in such a dark place that there is no hope, that they think that the better way is out. And it's funny, I have my own coping tool that I'm not saying everybody should use. Like I said, everybody has their own, what works for them. But my thing has always been, even if I was in the darkest places of my life, what if it's worse? Then what do I do? That's something I've always said to myself when I get to that really dark place. I'm like, yeah, but what if it's worse? Then what do I do? And that's really those are the words for me that bring me back to, hope, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. I can agree. I can remember sitting in different kinds of meetings that were recovery oriented, and listening to people say over and over again something to the effect of, I know that if I go out one more time, if I use one more time, or I drink one more time, that's it, I'll be dead. And I would always think to myself, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is that there are things that are worse. There is continuous patterns of addiction that people get themselves into, which there is no escape. It's just over and over and over again, a revolving door of pain. And people talk about hitting bottom. Well, every time I would hit bottom, the ice would crack and I'd fall down another 10 levels. It's always possible to go lower, to your point. But, the thing is as quickly as things can get bad for someone, they can also get good instantly. Things can change. And, the main thing that has helped me as a musician and as a fan of music is when I listen to my genre of preference, whether it be industrial, metal, gothic, country, whatever it might be, I try to find kinship with those who are singing about the subject matters that align with my life experience. And I do that because in listening to them, I realize I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people throughout the years tell me that that's how they felt when they heard our albums, Unclean and Peace Minus One and Self-Will Run Riot. They realized that there were others who felt like them, who had been through things like them. And it caused them to grab onto hope in that moment, because the thought came into their head, wait a minute, I'm not alone. There's lots of people that feel like this. James Baker feels like this.
That's right.
Yeah, and so, I would hope also as an older guy now, hopefully with a few more life lessons under his belt, a bit more maturity, I don't want to just stop with identifying the problem and saying, life hurts, it sucks, blah, blah, blah. I want to go on from there and start talking about solutions too. And I don't want anyone to get me wrong. This album's not going to be pumped with sunshine and the power of positive thinking. I believe in that sort of stuff personally, absolutely. But the subject matter of the album is going to create that bridge of empathy for those who listen, where they realize, wow, there are others who feel like me. And now we're dealing with almost a third generation of Rorschach Test fans.
Does that blow your mind or what?
I had someone to ask me, when are your T-shirts going to be ready? I want one for my grandson. My grandson wants one. I'm like,
nice. Oh yeah, you would never think of that. Go way back into the beginning. But something you said I really love too, because so as somebody that has always listened to dark music myself, people kind of got confused of how somebody that was a power of positive thinking person would listen to music like that. But to me, it's just as powerful too. And music is some of the best therapy. And one of the things, like you said, is knowing somebody else, like especially if you're somebody that has had their own trauma, but also uses the power of positive thinking. Kind of, you don't put that image out there that attracts people that are going to be thinking the same as you, but the music you attract is what happens. So the music can speak to you without you having to feel like, you're venting or dumping, and you can just relate to it, and it can be so helpful. I think it makes a well-balanced human being to have all sides. And, like you said, if you've been an addict or you've been around addicts, otherwise you may not understand. Both my parents were high-functioning, high-class addicts and serious addicts, and serious mental illness. And so I got something out of that by being the observer of that and experiencing that and being part of that. And they get something out of it by being there themselves. But anybody else, it's like funny, when I was young, I used to say, yeah, I could never meet a woman that came from a family that had no mental illness and no addiction stuff, because they would never understand. And you could tell them stuff and they would think you're making it up, type of things, And so that's the best thing about music and your type of music. And what's great is you can tie it all together. You can tie in the beginning of your career, but now coming back with this new music. Like you said, you're not getting rid of the gothic dark part of it. You're just adding your journey into it so that people can relate and they can get hope from the fact that you're on the other side and they can be too.
Yes, absolutely.
Very cool. So tell everybody how they can reach out to you guys on the web, on socials. Check out the new video, because it's a really cool video, and get the album.
Right, absolutely. So best way is probably just to go to our website, which is www.rorschach.com, and that's spelled RORSCHACHTEST.com. Our link tree is there, which will take you to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the other channels that are set up there. And that's also where you'll get the latest news. The release is going to be October 31st, but there'll probably be another couple singles coming out prior to that release. So definitely go to the website and keep yourself informed. And real quick, I know we're kind of running out of time, but also look for Unlabeled Artists.
I was going to bring that up, yes.
This is an exciting new, I'm not going to call it a label, but I'm going to call it a platform that we're really going to unveil in 2025. And the concept behind it is to empower musicians who are members of the club here who may have a diagnosis of mental health or substance use disorders. And Unlabeled is going to help them find a pathway to earn a living and receive the therapeutic value that music has to offer. So basically what we're going to do is connect those members of the community who are artistic with the right people to help them bolster their career and make a living doing what they are best at, and that's being an artist. So we're really excited about this, and we'll have a lot more on it later.
Yeah, I do love the whole concept 100%. It's kind of like what I think of in my mind, especially as you were saying what you're saying, that it's like the anti-label label.
Yeah. So
because the oxymoron of the fact that it's a non-profit record label, and I love that, you know, it's serving a purpose that I think the music community and artists so need, and you know, it is very, very cool. So I love it. And man, it's amazing that we have people like you, you know, and that's what music's all about. You know, there's a lot of gatekeepers out there that a lot of times like, oh, they should just stick to music and they shouldn't use it as a pulpit to say what they got to say. And I say to that, of course they should, because first of all, artists suffer a lot through a lot of things. Second of all, if they have that voice, why not use it to help others? Like there's other people, like you said, like there could be one lyric in one of your songs that could change somebody's life or make them feel like that person gets it. You know, it's you'll get this one. One of my favorite song lyrics of all time, just because I think it's so ultimately brilliant, is by Bring Me the Horizon. And it's, you can't drown my demon. I can't drown my demons. They know how to swim. And when I heard that, I'm like, damn, that's me right there.
That's good. Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, we're looking forward to the release and playing some shows and saying hi to everyone again and saying hello to all the new fans out there. And can't say thank you enough, Dean, for having me on. And you know, let's do this thing. Let's continue to create awareness about the issues that really matter in our lives personally and as a community. And I appreciate your part in doing that as well.
Well, my pleasure, and anything you need, and because what you're doing is certainly, you know, even though you're not, you know, doing what you originally set out to do, you're definitely doing somebody's work, whether it's God or anybody else. You are doing the work to help human beings and giving us entertainment with great music at the same time. So for that, I thank you, and thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.